Right, some players obviously stick in your mind. Frank Lampard, left-sided fullback. Peter Eustace, quite a good midfield player. Obviously, the great Bobby Moore, sensational player. And Geoff Hurst up front, World Cup colleague of Bobby's. But number 9, very interesting, Clyde Best, a big Bermudan who came across here and for a period of time, you know, terrorised defences. He was big, strong, and anyway, it'd be good to have a little look at him again here. Tough.
Bobby G, can you reflect on the Wolves lineup?
Yes, but in saying that West Ham team, there was 9 players came through the junior ranks in that team there.
Oh, right.
It was incredible, really. Phil Parks, known as Lofty, Bernard Shaw from Sheffield United, Squeak Parkin, Manny Bailey, a great skipper. Frank Monroe, very talented centre-half, always came out and played. John McCall, Duggan, Jimmy McCalliog, who went on to great things for Southampton. Kenny Hibbert, now down at Cardiff. Myself, Shuey Curran, who actually played for Manchester United. Yeah. And Dave Wagstaff, a great crosser of the ball. Yeah.
And the boss, Bill McGarry.
I still call him the boss today, Dickie. He frightened me so much. Whenever I saw him in modern day company, I say, good morning, boss.
Frightened not to.
I really
before the game, Wolves had lost only once in their last 11 games and were 5th on the table. In contrast, West Ham had won only 1 game at home and were nestling in 17th place. Leeds were riding high at the top of the table while Burnley were occupying the bottom spot. Let's join commentator Brian Moore for the kickoff.
So Mr. Lewis gets us away. West Ham defending the goal to our left. 6 from the bottom of the first division against Wolves, 5th from the top. And a sign that Wolves are building for the, or rather that West Ham are building for the future. 2 young homegrown players in this side today. At number 2, John McDowell, just 19, and at number 7, Johnny Aris, only 17. Now it's Wolves with their skipper Mike Bailey. Now here is McDowell. And Aris making a break down the right for him. A deep one towards the far side, and Phil Parks for Wolves. West Ham's throw. Shaw running that ball into touch, and Bobby Moore just recovered from a hairline fracture of his big toe. Pass fit an hour or so before this game. Peter Eustace, number 4. Here's Bobby Moore. And Monroe having a bit of a barging contest there, but it's in fact a corner for West Ham. Geoff Hurst here. I always feel that Hurst is so much a better player when the going gets a little softer. Here's Bobby Howe with the corner. And Best right in under that crossbar. Aris with a header! And West Ham very close indeed. Aris perhaps nodding his head a little bit in annoyance there that he didn't make a little more of it. And surprised certainly that Wolves allowed that to develop quite as much as it did. Curran looking for goal, stopped by Taylor. Now Eustace. McDowell. Best funneled in the back though by McCallie. And West Ham's free kick. The pitch of course very soggy indeed after a fierce storm last night and a lot of rain today. Bobby Moore. Lindsay. Best trying to get in on it. Eustace and Aris in a little bit of a misunderstanding, but now it's John Aris. Got a little bit of control by Aris. Being forced out all the while, but keeping control and possession, and now Moore. Eustace down for Howe, had a good shot there, and Parks down very quickly. It looked as though it might for a moment sneak under his body. Good work by Eustace and a good shot by Howe. Moore. And now Bernard Shaw. Out to McCallion. And now the number 11 Wagstaff, and they've allowed him to go a long way. Grotier losing the ball. And now the number 10 across that goal from Hugh Curran. And the goal is given.
And it's McCallion then, the scorer for the Wolves.
Well, Bobby, McCallion eventually getting the goal after a slip up by the goalkeeper.
Well, he set it up from the other side. He changed the play and it came across to David Wagstaff, who's got a lovely left foot. And I think one of the best crosses of a ball from the dead ball line that I've ever seen. And as soon as he got to that dead ball line, I thought he's going to clip it back and the goal is in trouble. And that's what happened.
Clever little player, though, McCallion, Bobby.
Yeah, he scored a lot of goals.
Lots of goals.
And certainly referee Lewis didn't like the way that he was challenged. and I think might well be pursuing McCallie just to have a quiet word with him. And indeed he is. And it's going to be West Ham's free kick. And it's going to be young John McDowell, in of course for Billy Bonds, who is under suspension. And the referee with an arm aloft making clear that it's an indirect. And also wanting Mikhailov to get back the full 10 yards. Parks reaching and losing it! Oh, and they couldn't just push it home. Hurst and Best were close there at that post, and it needed just the simplest prod. Eustace. Hurst. Taken quite easily from him, though, by McCallie. Hurst again. Body and head. Eris. Lindsay. Hurst. Eris again. Lindsay. And Moore right up on the far side, and it'll come through to Bobby Moore. Trying to turn it in quickly. He'll get another go. Aim towards Hurst. This is a shot for Hurst against the post and back into the arms of Parks. Hurst having prodded that one against the post after very good work indeed by Bobby Moore. Wagstaff, Curran making a move down the left, played nicely there for Hugh Curran with Gould in the middle and Moore in the middle as well. That was beautiful control by Bobby Moore. Fierce challenge by Gould, but he's a wholehearted player and always has been, Bobby Gould.
Now, Bobby, you remember that, don't you?
I think it's a four-letter word that's coming out there.
Over exuberance or what is it?
Yes, I would say so. I think the ball's gone towards Peter Grote, and all I've done is try to let him know I'm in and around.
You mustn't touch the referee either, you know.
No, well, there's modern-day rules, are they?
Oh, put your arm around the referee.
Well, I did apologise, and I'm going to say sorry.
Mr. Lewis's name was it?
Yes, it was. And people asked why I got booked afterwards, and I think Mr. Lewis was the only one that had the answer.
That wasn't him. No, you wouldn't have got booked today doing that, would you?
No.
It's next to nothing, that.
I think.
Hurst up. Eustace. That's aim for Hurst to go in on. Gets ahead to it. Bobby Howe is there as well, but Howe really having no chance of getting a powerful header from that sort of angle. Mikhailov to Gould. Bailey stretching but failing to make contact. Wagstaff back to Parkin. Wagstaff and Taylor. Still a heavy drizzle. And the pitch really beginning to cut up as Eustace now looks for Hurst once more. Hurst has got Monroe with him as he has the whole afternoon. Getting that one across, but only as far as Parkin. And West Ham's throw. Eris to Hurst. Looking for Best! Oh, Clyde Best! The equaliser!
But you said he struck terror in the hearts of defence, says
He's a dangerous player, Clyde Best. He was so big and strong and tough. I mean, really, you'd have to criticise the defenders here. Look at them, there's not one of them near him. And he's got a free header. But nevertheless, he was an imposing character. And for a short period of time, you know, was as good a striker as you had in the country. But didn't play for very long. I think he had a bad injury, didn't he?
Yeah, I think towards the latter part of his career, he had a weight problem as well, and he found it very, very difficult to train. Because I actually joined him at West Ham, and he was a lovely person.
Yeah.
And it's Wolves then defending the goal to our left who get us away, who incidentally were beaten here 3-0 in the last game of last season. Now Mike Bailey. We're looking at a much better proposition this afternoon. Curran. Played wide now for Wagstaff. Curran's in the middle, and so too is Gould, and so too was Lampard. Bailey once more. Hibbett. Flicked in first time. And Hibbett again. And McCalliog again, and Grotier. Bobby Moore to Bobby Howe. Best. Moore again. I'm not sure that'll carry to Best. Bailey was in very vigorously indeed, but Best again finding Bobby Moore. And now a pass that does find Lindsay. Taylor. Oh.
Well, Bobby, we shall see you playing for West Ham at Upton Park, but you played there frequently as a visitor. What was so special about it?
For me as a player, it was this chicken run underneath the camera. The wit of the supporter there was quite very, very sharp and funny.
Really?
Especially as an away player, you know, they really used to raise to the occasion, try and get you to raise to the bait. So
can you recall any comments?
Well, not
that
just
you could actually tell us.
Not offhand, because later on I went to play there, and they were a tremendous support to me, because I went through a very rough time when I went to West Ham in 1974. But those chicken run supporters always believed in me as a player, and it gave me great faith.
Do you remember the chicken run, Bobby?
No. No, I don't remember the chicken run. I remember the humour when you went to take corner kicks and things like that.
Yes.
You know.
Well, the Cockney humour is very sharp anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
But the pitch was always also very small as well, and when you went there you thought it was a very small pitch and ground, and yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed my days at Upton Park.
Yeah. And there's one other thing. You talked about the mud, Bobby, and it's raining now. It really is going to be raining hard for the entire second half.
It'll get tacky if it continues to rain, obviously, like this. But I do believe it helps forwards. It's not so really good for defenders.
We shall see. We shall see.
We'll see later on what happens, yeah.
Short to Lindsay. And the shot blocked by Mike Bailey. Moore again. Hurst. And now Lindsay, will he get a shot this time? Just passed. If he could have played that a fraction to the right, it might well have gone in, because I don't think Parks would have got to it. He seemed to be stuck there in the mud, in the centre of his goal, Phil Parks. Peter Eustace to Johnny Ellis. Eustace again. And Eustace again. And he almost made another go at it. Hurst playing it off nicely there for Bobby Howe. He went down and tried to flick it on for Best, but the whistle had gone for a free kick to West Ham on the edge of that Wolves penalty area. Or rather some 6 or 7 yards outside it. 4 men in the Wolverhampton wall. Hibbett, Bailey, McCalliog and Gould. And on the far side, it was McDowell trying might and main to get in there on it. And the referee, in fact, had awarded a goal kick, and at least was big enough then to change his mind when he saw that the crowd, or heard that the crowd was howling, and noticed that the referee, the linesman on the far side, was indicating a corner. Parks trying to capitalise on it by putting it down for a goal kick, but it is a corner to West Ham, and it's going to be young John McDowell with it. And Howe going in. Oh, against the post again. And that was terrible marking there in that Wolves defence, allowing Bobby Howe here to go in on it and have a completely free header. So again, West Ham have hit that post, having, I think, twice hit the woodwork in the first half. Howe with the corner again. Hurst making a run, Eustace also making a run. Bobby Moore trying to turn it back. Oh, and goal! Through the arms of Parks. Bobby Moore! Oh, he's angry.
Well, I think Bobby Moore would have been surprised of the goal actually going through that time.
Well, if you see his reactions there, it's a great shape for a volley of any youngster to watch out. Just look at the shape, you know. Gets a great volley onto the ball, and we're able to see it at slow motion. I'm sure Lofty Parks, that's his nickname, he will dread seeing that, Dickie. He really, really will.
He will, won't he?
And, but look how it comes back to him so quickly, but a goal that Phil Parks won't relish seeing again.
But when you think of, we talk so much about him actually coming up occasionally from defence.
Yeah, I was quite surprised that he had a go, and when it was coming out I thought, oh, Bobby Moore is not one for sort of knocking long shots in. but he hit it beautifully on the volley. And of course it was like a bar of soap, wouldn't it, for the goalkeeper? He just... I mean, I would imagine that Parks now will be worried to death every time the ball comes near him.
Bobby, I mean, you're a great admirer of Bobby Moore, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I spent a lifetime trying to kick him as an opposition forward. You know, could never hassle him or put him under pressure. He was so
in control.
In control of it, every movement. It was incredible.
I think you said he was one of the neatest players you ever saw.
Tidiest players I've ever seen. He never seemed to be flustered, never got caught.
Just look at
his play was always tidy.
And he always found a position for himself, space for himself. Oh, Best again, you see.
What about Route 1 football there, Mr. Charlton?
In the air.
Route 1 football from West Ham there. Free kick. This is Wimbledon, isn't it? There's Geoff Hurst, raising up above Frank Monroe. No, it's John McCall.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Clyde Best anticipating.
Under pressure.
And they're on about the academy, Dickie, playing wonderful football, and they go Route 1.
Well, sometimes it works.
If you got the right players, two big lads, Geoff Hurst and Clyde Best, I would be sending balls up to them in the air.
Yeah, but the fact is that you're now 3-1 down.
Yes,
Yeah.
But the side was renowned for a fighting spirit, and not only that, Dickie, we were on a good run at this time of the season. We were on a fantastic run, and the inner belief from the players stems from believing that you're never going to be beaten, and I think this game will epitomise that.
We won't give the result away.
No, as it goes on.
Okay.
And the linesman saying, no, that's got to be inside that quadrant, which is a new FIFA ruling this season. You may remember the controversy we had on the big match last season about it. Well, they've ruled it must be inside that corner quadrant now. There's a corner, and Grote are fisting it away, but it's another corner. Inside the quadrant at the other side. Gould busying himself again in that West Ham 6-yard area. And Bobby Moore straight into the referee, knocked out the referee.
Bobby, no, you mustn't laugh. It's not fair to laugh.
It's completely knocked out.
Bobby Moore picked the whistle up and blew the whistle to bring the train around.
I didn't see that.
He did. Sensational.
But he headed the ball at the referee, not at him, but I mean...
the shock.
The shot, yes, exactly.
Him, yeah.
Interesting there, the physiotherapist, a lad called Rob Jenkins, who used to hate flying anywhere, Dickie, when I went there. And Frank Lampard used to have to get in a vice crate net to get him up on the aeroplane. That's Rob there, the physio. The crowd are lovely and passive though, and look, it's a young Frank Lampard there on the left hand of the screen.
Well, that's amazing. Is he all right? Is he going to continue? Yes, he's fine. Look at that.
He could have saved his life there, Bobby Moore, couldn't he, really?
Just by blowing that whistle?
Yes, indeed.
I mean, maybe he swallowed his tongue, which happens these days, and if there's nobody there to actually act immediately, truly. That's fantastic.
What did they used to do in the days there, though, Bob, was if the referee got injured, they used to ask the supporters if there was a linesman
and
the referee who'd passed the rules.
Yeah. And you and I remember that happened with Jimmy Hill coming on at that point. Right.
Correct.
And a run there by Wagstaff. Wagstaff again, trying to beat McDowell, and McDowell snapping away at him, getting his foot in there just enough, and now steering up that right, taking the pass from Aris. Eustace. Hurst. And Aris again. Trying to take on Shaw, but now it's Lindsay, with Best and Howe in the middle. Aris. They wants a cross now. And Parks getting there. A big man bundling over Howe. Moore in very quickly on the substitute Richardson. Moore difficult to shake off, but Richards has done a good job there. Well, Wolves now have something like 7 or 8 minutes to repair the damage of 3-1 down. Here's Bobby Gould to Richards. On for Parkin. And now Hibbett and Bailey and Gould. Will Bailey, will they by sledgehammer methods get in there now? Oh, a fine goal by McCalliog. Oh, what a Fine goal. Jim McCalliog's second.
So, Bobby, the fight back has started, yes?
Yes, Dickie, but if you look at the gold shirts in there, there's actually 3, 4, 5, 6 in the box, and Jimmy McCalliog coming up from late. And it's a great shot there, and I think Peter Grote is definitely unsighted there. But it's the amount of people we've put in the box, Dickie, that has presented problems for West Ham at that period in the game.
But he clearly wants more effort now from Wolves. Away goes Howe. Lindsay right up with him. Hurst on the far side, screaming for it. And Eustace. Wolves to bring it away. Eustace needing to get back quickly. McCallie. And Grote with the ball not bouncing an inch. Bobby Gould, who a lot will depend on him in the last few minutes now if Wolves are to get this equaliser. Now it's Richards. Gould as active as ever, but it's Richards. Everything opening up for Richards. And City goes on. Oh, against the crossbar from Curran. With West Ham absolutely wide open, and that should have been the equaliser. A brilliant run by Richards, though. And Curran will be kicking himself for not making sure. That really should have been a goal. But of course a lot of other London supporters will be hoping that West Ham can hang on, if only to diminish the threat that Wolves have on teams like Arsenal and Spurs. 5 minutes to go, and West Ham 3-2 ahead. Not a good kick by Grote. Curran to Wagstaff. Wolves sensing that this match is by no means lost. Wagstaff turning it in again, and Eustace charged in the back by McCalliog. Eustace really has played well for West Ham this afternoon. Anxious whistles from the West Ham crowd, but there's still some time to go yet as Pivot. A long one forward that looks for Curran, and a barge in the back surely on Curran by Lampard, giving Wolves the free kick. And Bobby Howe making sure it's taken from the right place, and the referee... In fact, it was Bobby Howe who did it and not Bobby Moore. He had a word with Bobby Moore, but here is the free kick for Wolves, taken by Bailey. A deep one to the far side. Oh, against the post, and Gould! He's put it in there for the equaliser. A tremendous comeback by Wolves, and 3-3.
I feel a cliche coming on. Come at the moment, come at the man.
It's that predatory instinct, isn't it? You know, anticipation.
You happened to be there, did you, Bobby?
Yeah, just happened to be there at the right time. These are the type of goals that any forward loves. He relishes those. 6-inch drives. 25 of them a season now, you'd get 20 grand a week.
Well, I tell you one thing, you've now 3-all, so, I mean, you've saved the game. But you were looking, and we were talking about the crowd there, the angry whistles of the West Ham crowd, but I didn't think you whistled wearing a coat with a tie and collar and tie.
Yeah, they're very passive, though, even now, aren't they?
Yes.
They really are. But
Very smart crowd, one of the smartest crowds I've seen that.
Yes.
I think they're all solicitors and accountants. Oh, no, there's lots of shirts and ties there, wasn't there?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, God, it was there.
The merchandising's not the same, wasn't the same then as it is now.
No, definitely not.
No.
But I don't think many of the youngsters would see the muddy pitches now, would they?
No. And yet, you know, a muddy pitch at Upton Park, and they always tried to play football, didn't they, West Ham?
And a corner to West Ham. Now,
It's been such an open game, though, Dickie, hasn't it, really? Really has.
Not more than just a few seconds left. In fact, there won't be time to take it. And Wolves have got a point when a point seemed impossible for them with that marvellous recovery. Bobby Gould, having number 9, having got that last equaliser for Wolverhampton Wanderers.